I'm going to talk about the Troubles, and the Troubles was played out in Northern Ireland between the late 60s and early 19th. And on this map you can see the distribution of the different religions in Northern Ireland, which could also represent two sides. For here example, you see the Protestants be very concentrated in a geographical area, while here you see the Catholics being concentrated in one area. And my thesis question for the essay was the I.R.A. member Bobby Sands a political prisoner or a criminal? And who Bobby Sands is and what the Troubles actually was, am I going to explain for you in just a bit. So, the Troubles was basically a conflict between two groups, and that was the Republicans and the Unionists, both political groups. And these two groups were associated with different stereotypes. The Republicans supported that Northern Ireland should be part of Southern Ireland and that Ireland should be one nation, while as the Unionists supported the idea of Northern Ireland belonging to Great Britain and were therefore associated with Britishness. Along with this, the Republicans supported the Irish, and also the Irish Church, which was Catholic. And many Republicans were also Catholics. While as the Unionists supported the British Anglican Church, which was Protestant, and therefore supported Protestantism, and many Unionists were also Protestant. The Republicans was represented by a political party named Sinn Féin, which means ourselves alone in Irish, while as the Unionists were represented by the political party Ulster Unionist Party. And both of these parties supported a violent group, one each, which was Sinn Féin supported the Irish Republican Army, while as the Ulster Unionist Party supported the Ulster Volunteer Force. And what is interesting about both of these sort of violent groups was that they took use of sectarian violence, and they were actually the ones who fought the war and created the conflict between Catholics and Protestants in Northern Ireland. And what is to mention as well was that the Unionists were a majority in the British Parliament and represented Northern Ireland in the British Parliament, which created Protestant favourable laws. And that situation had actually occurred since the creation of Northern Ireland, purposely by a guy named George Craig, who said that Northern Ireland should be a Protestant state for Protestant people. According to the English historian John D. Brewer, the Catholics were oppressed on 3 levels: socially, economical, and political. And this could all be reasons for why the I.R.A. was even created. But I would like to imply that the I.R.A. was also created due to nationalistic ideas and war romance. But that doesn't prevent the idea that I.R.A. was created due to political reasons and not for criminal reasons. So the internment policy was adopted in 1971. And that was because the British Parliament wanted to stop the conflict between the Catholics and the Protestants and the sectarian violence that had been going on for years. They did that by interning only the I.R.A. members and not the Ulster Volunteer Force, which could suggest that they rather wanted to stop the resistance movement that was mainly Irish Catholics rather than to stop the sectarian violence that was played out by both teams in the conflict. Which leads us to my conclusion. My conclusion is that there was 2 ways of looking at the conflict, and both ways were sort of correct. Because Margaret Thatcher saw that there is no such thing as political prisoners, and in one way she was right. The I.R.A. members had done something criminal, and that was why they were interned. But due to the fact that only I.R.A. members was interned, and not the Ulster Volunteer Force, the rules wasn't the same on both sides. Also, could we look at Bobby Sands' own view of his reason for being a participant in I.R.A., and maybe also the reason for why I.R.A. was created. And he said that I'm a political prisoner because I'm a casualty of a perennial war that is being fought between the suppressed Irish people and an alien. If you look at the actual situation in Northern Ireland, you can easily conclude that it was political. And therefore, Bobby Sands was, to one extent, he could have been a political prisoner and not only a criminal due to the situation in Northern Ireland, but on the other hand, he had made a criminal act and was therefore also a criminal to one extent.